Hey Stitch Cuties, it's Brittany and welcome to the video tutorial for your block one of your Girl Power block of the month. We're gonna make Ivy the swimmer using our embroidery machine. So since this is the first block, I'm gonna give you some extra details in this tutorial. First up, when you get your box one, you are going to notice you have 3 pieces of paper that are not hole punched, and that is going to be your binder cover, your binder back cover, and then the binder edge. You'll just simply trim your binder edge down to fit. You do not get a binder in your box. You'll need to provide your own binder. I just do a simple 1-inch 3-ring binder. Let me show you what it's like inside, just a simple 3-ring binder. Every month your pattern is gonna come 3 hole punched, so it's nice and easy to stay organized throughout the entire process of making this. Of course, you'll have your bag of pieces and you'll have your full-size placement guide that's numbered, and you also have your reverse applique pieces, meaning this is the reverse piece that you would trace onto fusible if you're ever gonna make more pieces. And then in your first pattern, let me move over just a little bit, you get at the very beginning kind of a little FAQ informational packet. So you have a fun little cover for inside your binder. Then you have what you're gonna get in your box every month, some basic account management, how you can change your address, update your credit card, access your video tutorial and your embroidery files. And then, of course, how to contact us is mentioned. And then we go through recommended notions for your embroidery machine. The basics are a steady Betty in front of your workspace. You can see mine right here. If you didn't get the thread kit, it's really nice to have the 40-weight thread kit because you get all 20 colors that you need to make this quilt. Sulky Tear Easy Stabilizer, which is a really nice stabilizer. It's stable enough to stay in your hoop and be able to like build your applique unit in the hoop. But it's also easy enough to tear away before you trim your block, which is very nice. It comes in a roll, by the way we sell it, that is long enough to do several block of the months with us. So you don't need just like 1 roll per block of the month. And then of course, some Karen K. Buckley scissors. These are great. And then the ruler, let me tell you about the ruler. Every month when you trim your block down, you're gonna trim it down to 8.5 inches. This is a Cute Cuts ruler by Lori Holt from Riley Blake Designs, and it's a perfect 8.5 inches. It is great for trimming your blocks. I love it. I'll show you at the end. And then of course we do sell backing. And then we get into our first pattern. So every month your pattern is gonna have a picture of the block. You're gonna do the embroidery in the embroidery machine, and then separate from that, you will do simply your left and right border sewn on, and then your top and bottom block border sewn on with a basic scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. Super easy peasy to do every month. The way the pattern is written every month is we're gonna go step by step, showing you how to build your applique unit in the hoop, and then the thread color changes for the stitching, and then you have the basic instructions for your borders. So I wanna show you how I organize my pieces every month. So I use my placement guide, or you can use the reverse applique pieces, and I number my pieces, right? And then I look in the pattern and it tells me on each step what pieces I'm gonna iron on. So I make a pile of pieces for each step. So the first step that we iron on, when we get to that, it's gonna include pieces 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8. So I just put my little pieces in a little pile. I number them, by the way. The back of the pieces, of course, have a fusible on them, and it's easy to write on that with a really thin, the fine point Sharpie. And then you can see off to the side, I have my little pile of pieces for each step of ironing them on. Anytime there's a piece that's like super little, we put it in a larger square so you don't lose it. And then right now, I'm actually not gonna snip this out until it's time to put it on there. Because again, this is the little fin on the fish, on the little swimming girl swimsuit. And it's an itty bitty piece and I don't wanna lose it. So we do little things like that to try and make your life easier. Another thing I do every month for my block, you can see off to this side, kind of hopefully on the screen, I have my thread colors. So I look at the pattern and I see the order that the colors are going to appear, and I line it up on the side of my workspace so I don't have to think again about the thread colors. So basically when I begin, I've got all my pieces numbered in a pile and I have all my threads ready to go. That just makes your life as easy as possible. In my particular workspace, I like to put my placement guide off to the left of me. I have it where I can see it at all times. For me, I have a little place where I clip it up in front of me, but that's because I have a camera stand. Otherwise, I would just lay it on the table beside me. And then for the pattern, I take it out of my binder and I clip it up to the right side of me so that I can read every single step as I go. And I'll reference the steps in the video tutorial. It's really simple. But again, having a binder just really makes it so organized. And then if you ever want to make the quilt again or go back to it, you have it super organized on a shelf in your sewing room or in your sewing space or what have you. Okay, so now let's get started. We are going to take our background fabric. We're going to give it a nice press, but then to put it into our hoop, the very first step that stitches on the machine is a little T right in the center. So I'm gonna take my sword there. By the way, you don't have to do anything other than press this. Don't worry about trimming it. We give you approximately a 10-inch square. When you starch and iron it, like I starched mine, look, it went a little crooked. Don't worry about it. You're gonna trim it down. So don't you worry about a thing. This is the Dainty Daisy Dot in pastel colors. It's a non-directional fabric, so also very user-friendly there when you're putting it in your hoop. So I'm gonna simply fold it in half. And now I'm going to go the opposite way and fold it in half so I have quarters. I just take my little iron, give it a little press so I have a nice mark right there. And I take my hoop and I'm just going to take this and line it up with the bottom corner of the T and open it up and then open it up. Once I've done that, I do take my iron and press out that little fold. I like to see the fold really good. That's just like a personal preference. Now, putting your fabric in the hoop, you can do two things. You can do these little sew tights. They're like magnetic pins essentially. Or if you're going to tape it in place, I like to use, I call it medical tape. It's 3M transport tape. I call it medical tape because when I was a kid and my mom did long time ago when I was like in elementary school, she did x-rays before she did MRIs. And she always had this in her lab coat pocket. So to me, that's what it is. Okay, so I'm going to use my sew tights today, and I'm just going to put them at the very edge of the fabric. I want to make sure I don't put them where I might potentially have the machine sew, right? And we only need them on here for this first step. On the next step, I'm going to go on and take this off, because once you start getting applique pieces outlined, then it's holding your fabric in place. So this is simply just to keep it in place on this first step. These are the sew tights, by the way, that are made for the embroidery machine. They're just super simple. There we go. So that's what my hoop looks like. Now, I do want to point out, let me get the pattern where you can see it. Make sure to pay attention where we tell you to put thread colors. So we tell you right here, you're going to load it with white. And you're going to keep it here until otherwise stated. So on your embroidery machine, so that you can easily see these individual steps of the outline pieces, we have always and always will color code those alternating between red and black, red and black, red and black, so that it's very easy to see on your screen instead of just having white on your screen. It's difficult to see. So always pay attention to what the thread color is being shown in your pattern. Once we get into the thread color changes, they'll match with a few exceptions. But always make sure that you're cross-checking and reading your pattern. And of course, if you ever have questions throughout, you're watching this video, or you can always reach out and contact us, and we're happy to help. Because it's so easy, it's so fun. I'm really excited to make this quilt. I haven't decided, I think, where I'm gonna put it, but I have to have it. Okay, so we have a white thread loaded on our machine. We've stitched the first step of the T. We've put our fabric in place. So now we're going to begin, and it's going to give us our first round of applique outlines. Okay, so we have our first round of applique pieces outlined. It'll be much easier for you to see them in your workspace. And the first thing I'm going to do is take off my sew tights because we don't need them anymore. Our fabric is held in place by our first round of stitching. So what just stitched, by the way, if you're following along with your pattern, which hopefully you are, that is step 8, right? So now we're on step 9. We're going to iron our first round of applique pieces in place, which are pieces 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8. So now put this straight down. I'm going to move that out of the way so I can hopefully stay in the shot for you. Now, when you're putting your pieces in place, you're always going to put them down in numerical order. And I like to have a really little cute iron so that it doesn't, like, you know, if you're working with your full-size iron, it's hard in your hoop. and it's hard with little pieces. So something like this little Cricut, something like the Aliso mini iron, something like that is really good to have. So first up, we're going to take piece number 1, and to remove the backing, you just simply kind of crimp it on the edge and it peels right off. It's super easy. Now the fusible that we use is called Sulky Perfect Appliqué. It's a really nice product. What we love most about it is that it's nice and thin in terms of a fusible. It's very lightweight, and that helps you not have bulk in your quilt, especially when you're doing applique and you might have some pieces that are layered. When you put your pieces in place, you want to make sure that you get them right in that line. So just a fun fact, I actually am the one that digitizes all of Julie or Amy's or whoever's art, and I get the exact same file that I'm using for the laser to cut out your pieces. I use the exact same files over here on the embroidery machine, so they're always going to be an absolutely perfect fit. It's just a fun fact. That's how you get such accurate quilts when you do it this way. Now we're going to put number 2 on. Now a little trick that I do, when there's any kind of piece that's like directional, that's not super blatantly easy to see which way it goes, I'll put it on my placement guide and I'll mark up. I'll give myself a little arrow up just so I don't have to like be silly. And you know, I do that a lot with like flowers and things like that, where it all kind of looks alike. And so I did that on this piece. And again, make sure it's everywhere in place. And you don't ever need to like stretch or pull the piece. It's gonna fit perfectly right away. And if it doesn't fit, it means you have it in the wrong spot. All right, so that's piece number 2. Now we're doing piece number 4. This is her cute little face, our little swimmer. I can't wait till we get to building out her little swimsuit. It is so cute. I would wear it. I like to wear a little skirt. Like my husband and I love to go on cruises, and I typically have like a bathing suit that has some kind of little skirt type thing, you know, a little more coverage, if you will. And I would wear this. I would wear a red bathing suit with a cute little floral print. There we go. Now we're going to do piece number 7. This is her left arm. And right in place. There we go. And then piece number 8. I will tell you though, one thing this little girl and I do not have in common. I do not have the ability to swim. My poor mom, I grew up on the beach. I grew up with pools. I'm from Florida, literally on the beach, and I cannot swim to save my life. My mom put me in so many swim classes. It's comical. So I love to sit by a pool, but I don't get in it. All right, there we go. So this is what your hoop should look like. Right now you have your first round of pieces ironed on. This is step 9. Now we're going to continue with white thread on our machine, put this back on, and step 10 is going to stitch for us. Okay, so now we're ready for our next round of applique pieces, and this is a step where it's a really great time to point out or remind you. I believe I just said it, but I want to make sure I say it again. Always iron your pieces in numerical order unless the pattern says something different. In terms of like on a step. So we're on step 10 and we want to put them down in numerical order, because if we don't put them down in numerical order, you can see you have pieces that over and underlap and they'll be out of order. So always start smallest number, go to biggest number, even if there's a jump between them. So first up, piece number 3. This one's easy to put in place because this lines up exactly with the edge of your sun right here. This little boop boop is the same. So once you get that in place, give it a press. There we go. Next up will be piece number 5. Oh my God, her little sunglasses. Is that the cutest? So the prints in this quilt are from Riley Blake. Some of the skin tones are Moda Kona Cottons, or Bella Solids, whatever they call them. But it is so cute. This is a paparazzi print. We use this a lot because it's just a little bit more fun than a solid. It's got that fun texture of the dots. This is a Dainty Daisy, the yellow behind it, same as the background, but in a different colorway. So just depending on where yours fell on the piece of fabric, it's really fun. And then we have piece number 6, super fun print. Boop. Another little tip I should say, let me show you what's off the camera. I keep a cute little jar or a vase or something like that off to the side as my little trash can. So this is my little heart glass vase. It's actually Mom's, Julie's. And I keep that to the side so then I have a cute trash can on my workspace. Now at home, I ordered from Amazon like a mini trash can. It's like maybe 6 inches tall and it's got the little revolving lid. And that is just too cute. I love that one. It was like, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks, something. Just Google like cute little trash cans. Desktop trash can, maybe. Okay, so there's that. And I got it in a sage green. Super pretty. Now this is the top of her little bathing suit. Another cute pink print. There we go. Make sure it's on her. And press it down. Now she needs some legs, so we're going to do piece number 12. This is her left leg. And we put that right in place down here. And the top of her little leg does line up with the top of the little sand dune. I'd like to think she's on vacation in Destin. I grew up in Panama City Beach, and I remember as they were developing Destin, I was like, hey, they're making this place really cool. So, and still to this day, my husband and I go to Destin for the weekend a lot. We're in Tallahassee, by the way, if y'all don't know that. We're in Tallahassee, Florida. It's only a couple hours away. So there we go. We have everything ironed on for this step. Now we're going to continue on with white thread for our next round of applique outlines. Okay, so now let's put our applique pieces in place. Up first, number 10, the little fishy on her swimsuit. So cute. So, right in place, get her little tail. There we go. Prius. Now we're going to put her little flipper flops on. Can you see that in the screen? Yeah, you can. So, this is number 13. This is her left flip flop. So cute. I have to tell you, though, I cannot stand walking in flip flops. So, in that regard, I'm a bad Floridian. I used to wear flip flops all the time. But now as I've gotten older, oh my God, I can't. I don't know why. It doesn't bother me at all when other people do. They look comfortable. But me, nope. I got to have a sandal with a back. I don't know why. So bizarre. And then this is her right flip-flop. So get that in place. There we go. Now when you're working also with little pieces, you'll probably see when I do on the next step, I'll probably get it out. But this little tool, the Alex Anderson, it has this little wooden tip. Also has a little stiletto in there. Sometimes if you need to like hold a piece in place and not like burn your hand or something, then that's a good tool to have. And now we're going to put her little swimsuit bottom on, the little skirt. Right now she has no body. She went to a magician show and she got cut in half. Just kidding. We're thinking about, my husband Steve and I, thinking about going to see David Blaine for New Year's. We haven't decided. Wouldn't that be wild? It's either going to be really cool or really cheesy. I don't know. If y'all have seen him, comment, tell me what you think. Okay, so there we go. Everything is on for this step. So we only have one more round of applique outlines. So again, we're going to put this back on with the white thread and get one more step. That might have been the shortest step in the history of an embroidery machine. One little bitty fish fin. So cute. So like I said, I'm not cutting it out until I'm using it because he's so little. So right now, I'm just going to take my little Karen K's and snip. So I love these, sharp to the point. And then we're just going to peel the backing off. And we are going to put this little orange fin right in place. And now I am going to get my little tool out. I like to use the stiletto end. It's just a personal preference. And once I have that little guy in place, boop, don't burn your finger. There you go. So now everything is ironed on. You've built your applique unit in the hoop of your machine. And if you didn't have me talking in the background, it probably wouldn't have taken as long. So now we are on step 16. We're going to have a series of thread color changes. Now, you don't need to take your hoop on and off the machine for the thread colors, of course. I'm going to simply so I can show you on camera and talk about the thread colors. So up first, our thread color change, we are going to load 1056 medium tawny tan. and the little sand that she's standing on, and then her arms and legs and the side of her face are all going to get stitched. Okay, let's take a look at what just stitched. It looks super cute. So now it is time to change to the next thread color, which is step 17, and that is 0567 Butterfly Gold, and the 2 pieces of our little sunshine will be stitched. Alrighty, your little sunshine is all stitched up. So now we are going to move on to step 18, and we're going to load 1039 True Red in your little flip-flops, her little dress in the outside part of the fish, and then her swim cap and her sunglasses will be stitched. Alrighty, so everything is stitched except our little fin, which brings us to step 19. We are going to load 1833 Pumpkin Pie. I do know that your machine shows color 1168. That would work too. But what we intend for you to use and what's in the kit is 1833 as notated in the pattern. And 1 little bitty fish fin will be stitched. Alrighty, so everything is stitched. Let's look from top to bottom. Adorable. I love it. So now what we're going to do is take this out of the hoop and we need to trim it down. So I'm going to show you a few tips on this first month. Little things I do when I'm trimming. So first off, you want to pull your stabilizer away, and you want to pull it from within all of the pieces too. For the sake of time in this video, I'm not going to make you watch me pull out all the stabilizer from within the applique pieces, but you should. You don't want to have that stabilizer in your quilt. So you'll do that. Now I will tell you a little tip for getting it out. One, I like to go to the couch then with a little pair of tweezers, watch TV. Sometimes I just stand here at the embroidery machine and do it. It just depends. But when you're pulling it out, if you want to just kind of score it, just take your little stylus of this, or you can use your little scissor tips and you just score it enough to get like your nail under there to get it going. See, just like so. And then you just pull it out. That's it. I don't pull against the stitches, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be mean to the stitches, even though they're sturdy and they don't get hurt from the stabilizer, but I do pull like away from the stitches. Does that make sense? That's sort of my little technique. Having a little pair of tweezers also helps, but this is just something, it only takes a few minutes. It's not that tedious, and you just get it out. There you go. So tear all your stabilizer out. Let me get my little trash pieces into my trash can. So you'll tear all the stabilizer out, but pretend it's all gone. Now what you want to do is trim your block down to 8.5 because you want to put your block borders on, right? So what I do when I'm trimming, I take my placement guide. A lot of times I'll use a light pad. Right now I'm not going to bother putting my light pad out. But line your pieces up. I can see through this good enough without a light pad. And then what I do is once I have that lined up, I take, look at this perfect little ruler, and I line it up. So the very bottom of your applique piece is going to line up with the very bottom of your ruler. Can you see that? See? Bottom applique piece, bottom of the ruler. Now on this block, there happens to be something at the top too. So the very top of our 2 sunshine pieces line up with the top. Now I'm going to take a little pin. This is a friction pin that disappears with heat. And I give myself just some marks. I just want to tell myself where I'm putting the ruler, because obviously I don't want to cut on top of my pattern because I want to keep it. So there we go. And this is going to be able to disappear, right? Don't use anything that doesn't disappear. So this is a friction pin that disappears with the heat of an iron. This trim line also, by the way, is going to be in a seam allowance. So if you did use something that doesn't disappear, it wouldn't be the end of the world because it is, you know, within your seam allowance, but still do it right. And then, so I have this, right? So if you look underneath, it lines up perfectly with my placement guide, right? That's why this ruler, that 8.5-inch ruler, is so incredibly handy. So now I really can trim it. I don't know why I put my ruler away. That was silly. Get my rotary out. So I'm going to put this little guy back in place. There we go. And this is an 8.5-inch square, and I'm able to start trimming. Always have a nice sharp blade. There we go. Now, I'm not cool and can't cut all the way around, so I'm going to turn it. Boop. And I know how to line it up because I have two nice, a 90-degree angle here, and I know I'm at the bottom of my little beach right there. So I am trimming my block. Now, I do want to point out, the bottom of the sand, right? That wasn't buttonhole stitched. And this whole time, I hope you haven't been freaking out. It's not stitched on purpose because it's going to be in a seam allowance. It doesn't need to be stitched, right? So there we go. I am cute and trimmed with my Cute Cuts ruler. And now what you're going to do, follow the instructions. So this was, that was number 20. Now you're going to be on step 21, and you are going to take your left and your right border. You're going to obviously use the cutting instructions in the pattern and starch and cut them down to size and sew them on the left and right. And you'll do the same with the top and bottom. And then you'll have your block completely done for your cute little girl. I mean, is she not darling? So what you're going to be ironing on, green, orange, blue, purple. They have special names like cottage and blah, blah, blah. So do obviously the colors that are listed in the pattern and that you have in your box. So you'll sew that on and then keep it in a safe place. You don't want to lose it and you want to keep it nice and flat. I like those little, I get them at Michael's when they have like their 50 and 60% off coupons. They're like 14 inches or 12-inch square little clear cases. And I have a label maker and I print my name, you know, of what the block of the month is, and I put it on there and I stack them. Honestly, I stack them in my attic because I have an attic that you walk into off my sewing room. So I stack them in my attic. And it's just so nice to have them all tidy and organized, and I keep my binder with them. So I hope that you have had fun. I hope I gave you some helpful tips in the tutorial. Again, if you ever have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We have an awesome team of ladies and gentlemen who answer your questions. And if they don't already know the answer, then they come get me and Julie and we answer the questions. So we're always happy to help. And thank you so much for being a member of the Girl Power Block of the Month, which is designed by Amy Brooken and Julie Love. All right, happy stitching, y'all.